Making that dough in the crypto paradigm. Watching it go, buying low, selling high. Riding the wave, I'm here to stay. Living in the digital age. No banks, no fees, just decentralized. It's crypto paradise. Ooh. No banks, no fees.
Good morning from Paradise Surfers. Happy Wednesday, November 5th. The market is bloody. We're beaten down, but I'm feeling just a sense of zen calmness. I don't know about you guys and your emotional reaction to the crash yesterday, but I thought we would start with a bit of a gut check, a bit of an emotional gut check, and then we can get analytical, then we can get technical. But obviously, look, Bitcoin breaking down yesterday, below $100,000 for the first time since like June. I don't know. I was kind of like, whatever. I looked at my portfolio. I was expecting to feel like, oh god, it's so low. It's like, oh, it's not that much lower than it was, a few weeks ago. Like, I'm good. I'm chilling. Like, why are we so freaked out? It was kind of, and the other thing too, and I'll turn it over. I always feel a sort of sense of just wholeness and completeness and chillness when I know that the worst is behind us. The crash is done. Now we can finally start the next uptrend. And that's how I'm feeling today. I don't know about you guys, but when Bitcoin hit $99,000, I'm sure, Nate, you were sleeping. Or maybe you woke up. Maybe you sensed it. Your spidey sense tingling. Like, oh, shit, we're crashing. Wake up at 2 a.m.
I had a buy order at 98,500 and it wicked down to 98,980 on the exchange where I had it listed, so I missed it by like $300.
You had a buy order set up. Good for you, but missed it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I had a stink bid at 98.5 and came within $380.
Will we get it again? We shall see. Todd has not pulled the trigger on any buys yet, as the indicators didn't get fully oversold yet. Was looking for lower sold Ethereum higher, Solana higher, and Bitcoin higher, but hasn't pulled the trigger just yet. When these kind of situations with uncertainty in the market, sometimes you just kind of wait for confirmation on a rise rather than trying to pick an exact low. So I'll keep you guys updated when he actually pulls the trigger there. But when we're looking at the charts, we are oversold on the RSI on all those, but not oversold on the technometer. You like to see both of those. So I don't know. I'm not that panicked. Obviously, it sucks. All coins still doing nothing. Pulse chain down. All of our favorites down. But I'm with you. Yesterday, I was out doing some work and doing some errands, and I really wasn't all that stressed out. I think that's just me believing in what's to come in the next few months and next year, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be forward thinking, right? And you also be backward looking too. Long enough, you look long enough in the past. You rewind to this time last year, and you go, "Oh wow, I'm still up 30%." If I bought Bitcoin at 70 grand, which is what it was around this time last year. Although this day last year, I think is when we started that epic run after Trump had won. Of course, today we have Mamdani winning, so that's a whole nother big mess. But in any event, I was chilling. I was like, look, okay, we're down, but it's a standard 20-25% correction. We've had these standard 20 to 25% corrections over and over and over again this bull run. I think this is like our fifth. And every time it happens, it eventually finds some support and you start to grind back up. And within a month, 2 months, you're back above all-time highs. And frankly, this time I'm even more confident we hit all-time highs because of the macro situation, the Fed injecting billions of money into the banking system, the QE that's happening already sort of behind the scenes, the rate cuts that are coming, the comprehensive market bill structure. I just feel like we're in a really good spot, even though the price is down. But we've been here before. We lived this movie before. There's really not much to see here.
Yeah, and I mean, the Wolf of Wall Street's saying something very similar, saying Bitcoin corrections. Bitcoin had 7 major corrections since bottoming in late 2022. This one is currently 21.7% from peak to throw. At the low end in a cycle where we have seen 4 other corrections of similar size and 2 that were much bigger. What are you all freaking out about? And I just replied, because people think the euphoria has to happen before the end of the year. In reality, it will happen in 2026, and we'll be on a 5-year cycle, not a 4. I think that's why this one does hurt, is alts have not moved. A lot of people think the cycle top either already happened or it needs to happen by December. And now you see the sell-off, and everybody's like, "Well, how are we going to get euphoria? Bitcoin's down to 100K, Ethereum's below 4,000, altcoins are in the gutter. We only have 2 months to go, guys, to make money." And I think that's the mindset of many. They want to make it in the next 1.5 months, when in reality, we think that the 4-year cycle is broken, and we probably extend to a 5 or maybe even longer.
Yeah, it's the trouble people have with these is, all of we have all these corrections and they're just corrections until they're not, right? So it's always like, which one is it? Is this the one that's finally going to keep going down? Obviously, we don't believe that, but a lot of people out there, just because of the timing, it's so late in the cycle compared to the normal 4-year cycle. This is right around the right time when, according to the traditional 4-year cycle, Bitcoin should be topping and coming down. So I think from that perspective, that's what's got so many people scared. But if you simply get out of this mindset of Bitcoin has to be exactly 400 and blah 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 days, or what is it, Amaro? You always quote it as like 500 and blah blah blah, or X number of days since the bottom, and it happens every time. And once you get your head out of that mindset and look at all the other things that are going on this cycle, that's where we're kind of sitting chill and just like, yeah, it's just another correction.
Guys, if you try to get rich quick, you're not going to get rich at all. Okay? If you're trying to get rich in a month and a half, right? I must sell everything by December 31. You're not going to make it, guys. You're just not going to make it. Treat your investments in the crypto market like you would treat your 401k and your stock holdings, right? Have a multi-year, maybe even a multi-decade time horizon. And as soon as you switch into that mindset, then all of this, oh my God, crash, oh no, none of it, all of it stops mattering. I promise you. So if you're trying to get rich in the next 2 months, man, I don't know what to tell you. That's not how it works, guys. It's really just not how it works. You got to be in this space for multiple years, multiple cycles to make it. Stop panicking. We're good. We've seen these 25% corrections before. And my guess is we are above all-time highs by the end of the year.
Might take a little. Oh, you're muted there, Nick.
I was just gonna say, I was trying to find that chart where it's like, I think it's 1,056 days or something that Crypto Armor already always refers to. People share that, but that applies to the previous 3 cycles because they were on that 4-year business cycle, the 4-year halving cycle, and now that cycle already looks a little broken. And we do know that the business cycle has been extended from a 4 to 5 year. QE is just beginning, so there's a very good chance that we don't need to get rich in the next month and a half, and we can't extend beyond the traditional norms. What's next on the docket, Nate?
Hold on. First of all, before we go into some other stars, I just want to say what's up to all our Surf family members here who have joined. Good morning, Moonmutt. Good morning, Meek Chapo. Hello from Martin. Hello. Good morning, Jay. Good morning, Todd. Thank you for reminding folks to smash the like, share, and subscribe. Yeah, maybe we get a comment from Todd on this. So the ETH ETF technometer massively oversold. So maybe not ETH itself, but the ETFs. I don't know what is he talking about? Bitmine stock?
He did a live show yesterday. He did a solo live show, and he was looking at the Bitminer, SBT, and the spot ETFs, and they are some of the most oversold levels I've seen in recent history since kind of launch. Usually that's an indicator that there is value there on those assets, and you probably need to be looking to buy those. Obviously, we bought SharpLink Gaming at like $9. It's back to $12. We bought Bitminer down at like 30 something. It's back around, I think $8 or $10 higher than that. And of course, those have come down a lot because those are kind of tied to the speculation on the underlying assets. And ETH and Bitcoin have now had 3 massive crashes in the past 3 weeks, putting pressure on those stocks and not allowing them to really buy more of that asset to bolster up their balance sheet as well.
Yeah. I mean, it's all tied together. So if you see ETH dumping down to like 3,200 or whatever it was yesterday, of course, that's going to impact these DAT companies. But yeah, I mean, we can get pretty rich really quick. That's what we're doing now, guys. Just to let you know, we're positioning ourselves, or we're hodling, or maybe we're buying some assets. So we're planning for the pump. We're getting ready for the pump, but we're not rushing it. We're not saying it must happen with X amount of time frame. We're saying, hey, this might take a little bit longer than we all want or expected, but that's okay. Because life, guys, it's a marathon, not a sprint. Remember that. And this is a good reminder to Hexbull, who is back from vacation. Happy to see you there, buddy. Lower than January 25. Yes, I know it's not fun, but higher than this time last year. So if your time horizon, if you're looking at over 12 months time span, we're still up 30%. Obviously, went much higher than that if you're talking about all-time highs. And yeah, it's going to take a little bit more patience, folks. It's going to take a little bit more waiting. But if we are correct and we are actually in a 5-year cycle, then the parabolic phase will not be happening until sometime in 2026. What's the rush? Why are we in such a rush to get rich? Can't we be happy being pre-rich?
No, Ian. Everybody's tired of hearing that from you. Nobody.
Patience is a 4-letter word right now.
What's that, Nate?
I said patience is a 4-letter word right now in this industry.
That's my first middle and last name, so don't speak ill on my name. But moon cycles, Moonmut follows moon cycles. Moonmut follows moon cycles. That's because his name is Moonmut. I did see a tweet from someone. I didn't know if it was like a joke, tongue in cheek, or if he was being serious. But he was saying how like the 5th of November, which is today, some moon thing is going to happen where it's like I don't know what the hell he was talking about. But apparently, if you look back in like previous cycles, that whenever this moon, it was a big moon, a blood moon, I don't know, one of these weird moons, appeared, that sparked like the bull run. So hey,
maybe that's why we're so zen.
Moons or astrology, whatever it takes for you to hold. Okay, guys, whatever it takes for you to hold. I don't care what it is you believe in, just as long as you hold and you have a long-term time horizon. That's all that matters.
Maybe that's why we're so zen. We're all in tune with our moon cycles here, and we know what's coming. I did see a chart, though. I don't know if it was the cycle lows in previous cycles or the past 2 Novembers. November 5th is actually the turning point for the alt to Bitcoin ratio on the charts that we're seeing. I'll see if I can find it, because I don't know if it was the last 2 cycles or the last 2 Novembers. But I think that's why Backstage decided to launch, and Kraken wanted them to launch on Remember the 5th of November, because the past 2 have marked the exact lows on the altcoin to Bitcoin ratio charts and really started the slow grind of alts before full-on alt season euphoria happened months later.
Yeah, saw they had the Guy Fawkes ads up. That was a good little bit of marketing. Unfortunately, the market wasn't participating much in the last couple of days. But good narrative, though. I did like the remember the 5th of November. Although, I don't know how many U.S. people get that.
I've heard that phrase. I don't know the reference. You're saying it's the Guy Fawkes thing.
It's
any of that, but
5th of November back in, I want to say maybe the 15 or 1600s, the Guy Fawkes mask that you see there, the V for Vendetta mask. A lot of people are more common with, that from the movie in the early 2000s. But he tried to blow up the British Parliament while they were in session, or was the royal meeting of some sort. But he had filled the basement and the tunnels underneath of the Parliament of the castle with gunpowder, and they caught him right before he set it off and would have killed everybody. And anyways, that was the 5th of November back in the day.
He sounds like a guy who would have voted for Mamdani if he had been alive today.
He was certainly trying to shake things up with the local government, that's for sure.
Oh, well, yeah, look, historically I have seen that chart, right, where 5th of November sort of marked the start of an uptrend. Look, I don't know if it's going to play out exactly the same. 5th of November, okay, it's going to be exactly the same. Like, to me, it's probably not going to be exactly the same. But what I do know, without a shadow of a doubt, is that eventually alts will reverse their multi-year downtrend relative to Bitcoin. At some point, that's going to happen, guys. Probably going to correspond with the start of quantitative easing, right? And you look at some of the thing the Fed's doing right now, injecting I think another 20 billion into the banking system yesterday. So we're over 100 billion now of kind of, I'm calling it shadow quantitative easing initiated by the Fed in the past week to prop up the banking sector. When does that now trickle into and start to affect in a positive manner the crypto markets? Well, that remains to be seen. But all this stuff moves based on liquidity. Liquidity has been drained from the system for many, many years now, QT, and only now we're starting to see the start of QE. So that's why Just hodl, guys. Just hodl. It's all going to be fine. Don't get shaken out with this standard 25% correction.
I don't know
Yeah,
why
sure.
everybody is concerned. I mean, apparently everything's just green. I mean, look at Zcash. Zcash trying to go to another new all-time high today. Unbelievable. This thing is just incredible. $466, a mere $10 or $20 away from the high for the move. Up 5.74% today. Zen is down at $19, down 3%. I bet you if Zcash remains 5% or bigger for the day, that Zen flips green today. So there's a 4% swing. That's your alpha. That's what continuously happens. Zen has these consolidations, lower market cap. If Zcash goes to a new high, Zen follows. Zen will make a new high above this $25 level, and that's $6 per token you would make there if Zcash holds firm. Dash was the market leader the past week or so. I know it is getting hit today. Down 15% today, but still above $102. Hit a high of $151 yesterday. This look familiar? This looks just like Zen. This is where we were live buying. This is the breakout consolidation, and Zen is right about here right now, meaning if it wants to follow Dash, you're going to see that euphoria top, and we probably should take some profits. So, hey, things is crumbling. Portfolio sucks, but privacy coins, another day, another new all-time high for those guys.
Well, that's what happens when the market's nuking and you have one sector doing well. People are like, oh, well, this is underperforming, so I'm going to FOMO into that thing. And that can work, I guess, if you want to risk it to make like 2% gains.
2%? It's up 1,200% in 2 months.
Well, yeah, sure, if you bought it 2 months ago. But I'm saying if you're deciding to do it today, right?
Yeah,
You're, okay, I'm finally FOMOing in today. I'm finally going to sell my ETH at a loss. Finally going to sell my Bitcoin at a loss and FOMO into this trade. You can.
Right.
You can try. You can see if that works out
How
for
many
you.
of these how many tops does Zcash get? I don't know. Only the
Yeah, I don't
look.
know.
I
I
already
don't like
sold
it.
it. We bought it down here at 40 and sold it at 155. So I'm just along for the ride. I missed all this too.
I don't love
got huge
selling.
gains for these market conditions. We got huge 4.5x gains, but my gosh, could have been 12. This thing just keeps grinding higher. I don't know who's
Well, it's
buying
incredible.
it at this
No, I mean,
point.
it absolutely
Wow.
is, and it shoves everyone who got involved. I just feel like if you're talking about buying now, I just don't like selling it something at a loss to FOMO in something that's pumping. Maybe that works for folks. Never really worked for me. I usually end up with less money that way because as soon as it seems like every time you buy it, it's like that's when the reversal starts and like now you're down on both things. Oh, I took a loss on both. God damn. So I don't know how much more room it has to run. Let's see. Brandon, we bought it early. Good job. I will be holding my Ethereum and Bitcoin here.
What's the next news article today, Nate?
Well, it's been a slow day. We haven't had a ton of stuff going on other than people complaining about various elections or price of Bitcoin.
Yeah, I mean, the
But,
elections are wild. So, I mean, it looks like Mandami won New York mayor, so that's terrible. We also have a lady who literally showed up on the government floor wearing a trash bag over her head during COVID because she was afraid to get COVID. That's in Virginia. Congratulations, another retard. And then it looks like we're getting the non-native born inbred Somalian is going to win in Minneapolis. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know who's voting for these people. Oh, we actually looked at the data, and it's women ages 18 to 44 voting at a 75% clip for Democrats over the other Democrat or the Republican in these elections. So we are being defeated from within by white liberal women. Pretty crazy. Also, the most egregious one is the Attorney General that won. I think his name is Jay. He literally got caught in a text thread wishing death upon his political opponent and death upon the babies of his political opponents. It was so egregious that the person that he was actually texting to tried to let him backtrack it, not once, not twice, but 3 times, didn't do it, to the point where she actually gave up the text because she was so appalled by what he was saying in private messages. And yeah, he won by 1% over there. Attorney General. That's who you wanted, your Attorney General, the person who said he would rather put 2 bullets in the head of his political opponent rather than Hitler himself in hopes their babies die.
Good
That is
Lord.
literally who is winning our election right now.
How is he even allowed to continue to run in this election? Like, if that had been anybody on the opposite political spectrum, they would have been drugged.
Or
through
different
the
race, different
streets.
ethnicity.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. And I'm not saying it's everybody. That's why I'm not sitting here being like, what has happened to our citizens? Because they're winning by like 1%. It's like 51 to 49, 51 to 50. Like those are the votes that are coming in, and it's crazy that 51% just said yes. I want my Attorney General to wish death upon their political opponents, death upon their children and their babies, and would rather put 2 bullets in the head of my political opponent rather than Hitler himself. That is real. Go look it up. It was so appalling that the person he had the gall to text that to actually felt so horrible that she changed her opinion on Jay and released that to the public press herself because it was so appalling. Crazy.
Very disturbing stuff. Get out there and vote, folks. Well, this is how it works, right? The pendulum always swings back and forth. So Trump won. I, for one, am very happy because he's done great things for my life. But certain people out there are upset about this, that, the other. And so they're swinging back towards the other side. I mean, that's my kind of general take on it.
That's
Now,
not
if
even
you
the
look
other
at
side,
New
though.
York-
That's just like lunacy. The other side would have been voting Cuomo in New York, not Mandami. The other side would have been
Well-
voting the other attorney general, not somebody who's wishing death upon babies, not somebody who's wearing a trash bag on court in the government facilities during COVID because they think you're going to die if you see another person. These are the loonies of the loonies being pushed to the forefront of the Democratic Party, and people are voting for them. It's crazy.
That's my other take. This is going to end up actually hurting the Dems much more than it helps. Like, you don't want, if you're leading that party, right? You don't want the far left extremists to be the faces and the heads of the party. You don't want AOC. You don't want Mamdani, because how are you going to win a general election? When it's JD Vance versus whomever. How are you going to win when most of the country who are moderate to the right, as we've seen? How are you going to get them to vote for a party that's basically pro-socialism, pro-transgenderism, all this wacky stuff they keep saying in text messages to each other? I'm sure that just scratches the surface. So I long-term trend, I'm not too worried about it. In the near term, hey, New York, enjoy your experiment with socialism. Let's see how it goes. I'm sure it's going to go as it went every other single time in history, which is to say not well. And, this is what you voted for. So, I'm out. I got out. I'm not living that high tax, high regulation bullshit anymore. That's complete nonsense. But back to the markets. Why don't we go back to markets? I shared a couple things in our group. I wanted to show, maybe you can pull up the charts showing.
There's at least one person who's still uber bullish out there, Mr. Tom Lee, scooping up 82,300 more Ethereum, $305.82 million. This train ain't stopping for him.
There you go. There you go, folks. I just feel like, again, I've said this many times. Who do you want to follow? Who is your leader? I'm following Tom Lee, okay? You guys can follow whoever crypto guru you want to follow, and you can sell out and think it's all going to zero. I'll be hodling here. I will be waiting for Tom Lee and the Republican Party, and also some Dems, by the way, to finish this market structure bill. I'll be waiting for more stable coins to flow into Ethereum. I'll be waiting for the tokenization of stocks. I'll be waiting for the head of BlackRock to bring on another, $1 trillion or whatever into his ETF. I'll be waiting for the smart big money to pump these markets.
Saw a huge bounce off the bottoms on ETH there too. I would imagine that was around the area that Tom Lee was starting to buy things up and pump that price real quick back up from $3,000 up to almost $3,400.
Makes it a lot harder for these companies to get funds in order to buy ETH when price is down because their MNAV goes below 1 and then they can't really raise on that. But Bitmine did have some cash. They still have some cash, so do some of these other companies. So it'll be interesting to see if they can buy the support price and we get the ETH move higher. Because that's when the flywheel really starts. When ETH gets above 5,000 and there's retail and institutional FOMO, these people will be able to raise quickly due to their MNAVs sharply increasing rapidly. And what's interesting to see is the past 30 days, all of these are accumulating more ETH, as well as a dormant strategic reserve buyer. Coinbase has not been buying ETH at all for months and months and months. Well, in the past 30 days, they just increased their position by 8.7%. They said in their earnings meeting that they did buy more Bitcoin and more Ethereum for their strategic reserves for the company. So even Coinbase is getting back on the train of buying some Ethereum, which is good to see. But the most important thing with these guys is your ETH per share, and they continue to rise. The ETH per share for Bitmine is up 189%. The ETH per share for Sharplink Gaming up 98%. Well, how does that happen if they're not buying and the ETH price is going lower? Remember, they are staking for yield. They are using DeFi for yield, and all the ETH they earn, they are compounding. That goes on their books, and that means you have more Ethereum per the one share that you're holding of that company, and that is why price appreciation should occur, and why some people argue that you should have or could have some of these assets in your portfolio versus spot ETH itself, because this is getting to work for you and takes out some of that custody risk out of your hands and puts it in the hands of Joe Lubin on the DeFi side, or Thomas Lee on the institutional side. So interesting stuff that all these companies are still finding ways to accumulate more ETH, even though their MNAVs are near 1, and they're not really raising institutional funds because there's not much institutional demand or retail demand with Ethereum spot price floundering.
Good thing they set some cash aside and we're holding some USD to buy these dips, right? And that's one thing I respect about Tom Lee relative to Michael Saylor, who just seems to ape in and FOMO in regardless of the price. It feels like Bitmine and I think also Sharplink Gaming were a bit strategic about when they're looking to buy in. So good for them buying the dip, out there still bull posting, believing in this asset class. I think we're going to look back in, I don't know, 1 month, 2 months, 6 months, whatever, and go, wow, man, that was an awesome dip. I should have bought that dip. Just like the COVID crash, just like the FTX crash. By the way, those actually had fundamental, like, underlying reasons for it. Yesterday's crash, there was no point yet. It was just market manipulation. Just, Jeets cheating out, Binance selling, like, whatever it was. There was no like, existential, threat of COVID or, one of the biggest exchanges imploding. It was just, the standard 25% correction from the top to the bottom here. You guys who bought in will be happy. Blood in the streets. For those who sold, I'm sure you'll regret it later. It's the story, guys. It's the same story over and over. Like, this is ridiculous.
The whales seem to love it. Bitcoin demand from accumulator addresses, essentially people that are buying and not selling, and over the long term, have been scooping it up. Whales out there loving this. 375,000 Bitcoin scooped up here in the very recent future. That kind of, again, tells a big story for you. People that have been buying and holding long term are buying more right now. Probably something to read into there.
It goes. Isn't like we've seen this story so many times, and like every time it happens, we're like, guys, like we've seen this. Why are you selling? Like this is the playbook. This has been the playbook for as long as I've been in crypto, anyway. Right? Manipulated dumps, retail jeets out. Over-leveraged folks get washed out, strong hands buy in, floors created, pump starts again, rinse, repeat, ad infinitum forever into history until Bitcoin is $10 million like Michael Saylor says it's going to get to in 20 years. Don't we get it by now? Like, haven't we seen this story enough? They're like, oh, okay. This thing that's happened every other time is happening again. Cool. Sorry for being incredulous. I'm just like, it just boggles my mind that like people don't get it yet. They just still don't get it. It's just crazy to me.
It's been going on with the traditional markets and for in commodities for as long as history goes back. People want to get rich quick. People want always simple. And the more I do this, the longer I do this, the more I learn. The simple plans are usually the best.
I know. That's why we just keep saying buy and hold spot. Like I know we're so boring and we're not clickbaity and like I know, and we also obviously do get involved with pre-sales and we've done well taking risk at certain times. But, for the most part, the best strategy is sometimes the simplest one. Buy and hold Bitcoin spot, for multiple decades. It's kind of hard to go wrong. What do we got going on here? You are muted, but
you're muted.
Looks like Bitcoin back above 103,000 here with stocks flipping green once again. So that's interesting to see. It looks like Zcash went from up 5% to up 7%. Zen went from down 6% to only down 3%. That flips green. If this continues, guys, I'm telling you, that's your alpha trade. We got PTGC up 4%, Pengu up 5%. Pengu we haven't bought back yet. It's actually down 43 or 42% since our last sell. This is one that I do like, though. I do like the Pengu IP. We've traded it well since launch, including the airdrop that we sold at the actually Pico top here. Me and Nate were actually in a live show talking about somewhere down here is going to be a bottom. And, of course, on the big run-up, this is where I said you should probably get out and look for a buy in this zone. And then, of course, we got the waterfall through that zone that we picked up as fast as we could. But Pengu is an IP I like, guys. What do you guys think about Pengu? I know the founder's got a lot of money, and he's been adamant that Q4 was going to be Pengu season. Do you think he keeps with that, or do you think he waits until next year to really push Pengu IP to the real-world adoption?
Yeah, I think Luke is a solid founder. He's done an amazing job with the Pengu project. It's hard to say, though, if this is their year. I think in terms of any project within their genre, they definitely have the best chance. But it's not their success isn't going to be dependent on what they do within crypto. Their success is going to be dependent on what they do outside of crypto, right? About what can they get kids interested in their IP? Can they get their cartoons and plushies and comic books in the hands of the average, whatever their target demographic is, average, kid. What do you call elementary school kid, and get them excited about having a Pingu and watching the Pingu show and reading the Pingu comic books.
Oh,
Looks like Nate froze. But yeah, I mean, he's really true on that. They're really pushing on this IP and then see if IP leads to token price go up. Also, what would help is if there's actual utility in this IP for token, meaning part of the revenues or whatever is used for buybacks and burns or buying and LP ads or whatever it may be. I don't know if that's the case. I haven't kept up with it all that much because we were waiting so long for this consolidation period, and then we just had to take a quick trade. So maybe I'll dig in more to the utilities if there's a clear trading position, and then we can dive in more to the fundamentals to see if it's a short-term, long-term, or mid-term trade on that IP over a Pengu. They've done a really good job, obviously, over the years, and we'll see if that continues.
yeah, I mean, I think in the near term, it's down 40%. You can take a trade and probably do well if market's truly bouncing here. I think in the long term, it's also going to do very well because I do believe there's going to come a time. Liquidity is flowing back in the market. QE's in full effect. We're into multiple rate cuts, and people are risk on again. Bitcoin's run, ETH's run. People will start to look at memes and go a little manic again. Like, again, the cycle's as old as time. Right now we're in a constricted phase. We're in close to max fear. So of course memes and I mean Pengu does have some utility. Let's just call it a meme for sake of the discussion. Is obviously down like most other things. But there's going to come a time when the market's bullish again and risk on and mania, and Pengu's going to be up 10x from its current levels. So yeah, Pengu's going to be fine. I don't know if all memes are going to be fine. By the way, I think a lot that really had no community. They'll never come back. I think a lot of the Solana trenches are just done. But someone with good communities, good narratives. In the case of Pengu, good IP. I think you're going to be fine in the mania phase. You'll be looking at a 10x from here.
Are there NFTs ever going to come back though? That's the question.
I don't think so.
They started as an NFT project, and they actually were one of the guys that piloted this really. Now that the U.S. is opening up a little bit, it's not as big of an issue, but they had a really ingenious way. They piloted being able to do revenue sharing via their NFTs by essentially saying that when you buy the NFT, you're buying the IP rights to anything that uses that image of your Pingu and all of our stuff that we're making, from the comic books to plushies, blah 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 blah. But that the company is going to have a lease agreement with you where they can lease those IP rights to make all this shit, so that any revenue that comes in, they can flow back to you, and it's all legal. So they were really genius in how a lot of people started taking that model and adapting it into tokens and NFTs and things like that. So definitely pioneers in the space that way. But I don't know. I haven't followed up with the price of their NFTs. I don't know if there's enough revenue and or if the token feeds into those NFTs enough to keep the demand up. But as far as a cool NFT project to hold, all of those are nuked and dead. But because these guys have that core utility of the Pingu token and the Pingu business model revenue driving money back into those NFTs, they might be still worth holding or worth looking at, especially if you think the Pingu brand overall is going to succeed and the Pingu token is going to succeed. Might be a good speculative bet to check out the NFTs as well.
Yeah, I haven't kept up with them lately. I do know that the NFT price was absolutely surging and one of the only performing NFTs back when the rumors of the token airdrop coming, because of course that was one of the big value props is own the NFT and you get this token airdrop of a $3 billion asset. Hence why we saw this price dump happen, because that's a lot of tokens given to NFT members. But yeah, I haven't kept up with it recently. But if any NFT can make a comeback, I think that's one that actually was innovative, pays NFT holders yield, paid them an airdrop, and probably has future drops coming, especially with the mobile game that they've been launching as well. So we'll see.
I mean, all these projects that were born out of a mania phase, only a very, very, very small fraction will ultimately survive long term. It's no different than the dot-com bubble, right, of 1999 and early 2000s. You had, many thousands or tens of thousands of companies launching, leveraging the internet, and many were wildly overvalued. It was a mania. It was a bubble. It burst, but out from the ashes rose Amazon, Facebook, right, Google, etc. Same thing here. Okay, the NFT mania happened. 99.9% were nonsense bullshit. They're gonna die. They're dead. But you had like 5 that survived, or 10 or something. And Pengu's one of them. You know, Pepe. Obviously, you have Doge and Shib, some of the OG ones. So you'll get 5 or 10 that stand the test of time. The rest are garbage, and that's just how it goes, guys. So I don't know if NFTs proper will make a comeback and we'll have another NFT mania phase. I feel like that was due in part to just general market conditions, but also the newness of the technology, which is sort of worn off. Problem with NFTs is they're highly illiquid, and I think so many people got burned buying these NFTs, not finding sellers, and taking total losses. Whereas with the token, at least you can get something out of it in most cases, because it's a public market. But yeah, I mean, Pengu rose from the ashes of all the bullshit, and good for them.
NFTs were the memes before memes were around. Memes were a better version of what NFTs incorporated, of the zeitgeist of pop culture, etc. For a number of reasons, they're liquid, they're fractionable, etc. You know, with tokens, whereas NFTs were not. So I don't see NFTs ever coming back in that sense of being this hype meme style thing where it's all speculative. NFTs do have a purpose. The underlying technology is still the underlying technology. Like at some point when RWA takes effect, NFTs could be used for your deed to your house, the title to your car. Like all these kind of things will be, when they get digitized, they will be essentially an NFT, but they won't be traded. You know, you're not going to be having cartoon collections ever coming back, in my opinion.
Agreed. And probably for the best. Wouldn't it be nice to have a utility season again? Wouldn't that?
Let's look at the biggest driver of NFT season was Ethereum, and if we zoom out here on the daily, Ethereum did wick down to the 200 or the 300 moving average, now bounced back up to the 200 moving average after a bullish cross. So for all the bulls, you want to get back above this moving averages and back into the ranges. We'll see what happens here. But I just thought that was interesting. Usually we're on the 1 and 4 hour chart kind of looking at things. If we zoom out to the daily, seeing our beautiful buy down here, this is kind of what we're looking at. And structurally, it is holding the moving averages so far, even though it doesn't feel so great.
I saw Bitcoin also. We got a story here showing Bitcoin wicked down and bounced off the 50 week moving average. And the last couple times that it's done that, it's been pretty bullish here. So 2024, September 24, 99% off the bounce from the 50 week moving average here. The 50 MA and April, again, 50% bounce, boom, up to the new all-time high there. Now retracing once again to that 50 week moving average. Are we going to get a bounce here? And how high do we bounce? So 50% off here, put us at the 150 mark. Obviously a bounce, right at 100 pretty much. Easy math, the market making the math nice and easy for us. A nice 100x from here puts us right at 200K. I like that. That's clean. That would be beautiful if we saw. I remember last cycle there was a couple exchanges where the market topped at 69,420, and everyone was like, "All right, come on, really?" So if we get a 50%,
we're living in a simulation. It's official.
Yeah,
we're living in a simulation.
If we get a bounce,
happy about that.
100% straight to exact dead on, balls dead on at 200K. Hey, that'd be quite interesting to see there. So, but I don't know what's your take on this, Crypto Hitman, and what are the charts looking like for Bitcoin? Are we lining up to get that strong bounce and a V-shaped recovery off the 50-week moving average, or do you think, in light of the $40 billion liquidation that happened just over 3 weeks ago, this market needs a little more time to heal its chapped ass and move back up yet?
I mean, the MAs exist for a reason. They serve as major support, and we see that happening there. So, I mean, seasonality will tell you that Bitcoin should go higher the remainder of this year. The cycle should tell you Bitcoin should go higher, whether you believe in the 4 or the 5 year cycle. I mean, it's hard to say. We don't have oversold technometer readings, so there isn't a glaring buy here where downward selling pressure is telling you to buy. But everything that we've talked about, all the macros point to higher. And I think the biggest thing, too, is that's not really getting talked about is this government shutdown, I think, is affecting Bitcoin markets as well. I think it's just a uncertainty on the overall markets that's putting downward pressure here. So I don't know how much of it could be lingering effects from that massive liquidation crisis, and then you have all these companies and funds filling holes and selling off assets they're up on in order to fill those holes so they don't get sued or go bankrupt like FTX did. But like I said, seasonality, the MAs, the macro fundamentals all point to Bitcoin should be bouncing here and should be going higher. I did see that on Polymarket there was like a 90% chance of a interest rate cut in December, and now that's down to like 70%. So we don't want to see that continue to trend that direction because they're supposed to be stopping QT in December 1st and cutting rates again, not the other way around.
Yeah, we just
Yeah,
had
Fed.
some job numbers come in a little bit higher than expectations. I think that's probably why we saw the decrease there in terms of bets coming in on the whether we're getting a cut or not. I still think it happens because inflation is not going to just rear its ugly head out of nowhere. And I do think the labor market is in trouble despite having a little bit better. I mean, we were supposed to create 20,000 jobs or something, and created 30,000. I saw, so nothing dramatic. So I don't see the change in the trajectory and the path. The path is still more cuts and QE coming, but markets are going to do what markets do, overanalyzing and freaking out about every little data point that comes in. But I'm hodling here, folks. I'm hodling here as always. I suggest you do the same.
Well, the less the market expects a rate cut in December, the harder it's going to rip when we get one. So I'm fine with everybody if they want to be all bearish, if they want to be all hawkish on what they think JP is going to do in December, so that when we do get a 25 basis point increase, or if we get or decrease, or if we get a 50, then the markets are set to rip. If everybody's expecting a 25 again, and we just get a 25 again, like a lot of that could be pre-built in. So I don't necessarily hate that people are now starting to bet that there is no change. I think that bodes better for us to get a harder pump when and if we do get that change.
That's very true. Well, someone needs to get the guy who controls the markets on the phone. Get him joining the stream. Let's get CZ in here. Because as I understand it, guys, a lot of what we see on the price performance of Bitcoin is actually just sort of controlled by Binance. A lot of spot, a lot of leverage, pretty much all the market trading is happening over on there, and it's a bit of a black box. So we don't really know the inner workings of the exchange. To me, it's very likely that they were looking to liquidate a bunch of longs, and once enough shorts come into effect, then they'll start pumping the price up. So that's my cynical, conspiracy theory, market is fully manipulated take, but I think there's a lot of truth to it. Because this crash, guys, there was no reason for it. There was no big news story. It was just a random crash, almost out of the blue. So to me, proof of manipulation. I know that's probably just part of the story. But let's get CZ on the live stream and get his take on when he's going to start pumping the markets again.
Ask the Illuminati when they're gonna. What happened to QAnon? I thought those guys knew everything.
Right.
Shouldn't the Q people be telling us what's happening?
Yeah.
There's still a lot of time left here in November, but so far down 6% for Bitcoin in this month of November. The average return in November is over Bitcoin's entire history is 42%, and the median is plus 8.8%. This goes to the seasonality that we talk about around the holidays. Bitcoin historically does pretty well, and right now it has not been doing very well. A lot of days left in November to happen, obviously, and it just flipped red with this recent dip in Bitcoin. So we'll see how things want to round up the rest of the year and want to go into 2026 or not. I know I'm getting more and more messages, more and more tags, more and more DMs of the top is in, the market cycle's over. How can you still be bullish on Bitcoin and crypto? And usually my reply is, okay, then just sell everything and stop DMing me. I don't know. I don't know what else to tell you. I'm not selling here. I don't think the cycle is over. And if you feel so, sell it all. And I also say, hey, for trading bags, we're out of Bitcoin, we're out of ETH, and we're out of Sol in cash. So the dip isn't hurting me. I'm looking to buy it back here somewhere along with Pengu. We already showed that chart as well. So look, half the portfolio is in cash, looking to buy back large cap, so this isn't killing me. And if you truly think the top is in, or how can you be bullish, then sell your assets. I mean, is that what you want? You want me to be the one to tell you to sell everything? I'm not going to change my bias because some charts over on Twitter, when we haven't had euphoria yet, the 4-year cycle hasn't played out, the 5-year cycle hasn't played out, and we're looking QE in the face. So, we could be wrong. Of course, the top could already be in, but I'm going to remain bullish on this crypto sector as a whole.
Well, let's see how you guys are feeling. Let's see how the Crypto Paradise fam is feeling about this right now. We posted a poll about 12 hours ago, this morning my time, and let's see how which one is it? Yeah, here we go. All right. Bitcoin below 100K. Top is in. Gut check. Shakeout are here for the results. We got 72.7% of you saying gut check, shakeout. Only about 25% of you are bearish right now. So, maybe you guys can't see this, can you? I am not showing my screen.
We saw it there for a second. We saw it.
Did it disappear? All right. Well, there we go. Now it's back. Yeah. So the crypto paradise family relatively bullish still here, hanging tight. Only about 25% of you ready for the bear market, but I don't know. What 25%? Maybe those are people that just randomly saw the post. Maybe those on their crypto paradise community. I think most of the crypto paradise community, from what I've been seeing in our chat, they're still pretty bullish.
I mean, there's a large portion of the market that thinks the top is already in. Some were calling the top before we actually got the top back in September. Some are saying the top is in October. So wherever we finish in October, that is it. That is all she wrote. And others are saying that this dump that we just saw is confirmation that we're about to see a black swan and the market is over and crushed as well. Bull market peak indicators. These are historically all of the indicators that I've called previous Bitcoin tops consolidated into 30 here on this website. Still 0 of 30 have been hit with the average progress of less than 50%. Pretty wild to see that. That would mean that not only are we wrong, not only is the 4-year halving cycle wrong, the 5-year potential halving cycle wrong, but also all previous top callers are wrong once again as well. Possible.
Yeah, that would be wild.
Possible, but now you do have how many years of data? 16 years, 12 years of data for Bitcoin, and all of these would be wrong? That would be pretty crazy. Possible.
Well, you know what's going to happen, right? I mean, as soon as a majority of people think it's all over, they've sold out, or they've put in a bunch of shorts, that's when we're going to have a mad reversal. This stuff that happens every time this way, guys. Like, it boggles the mind that, especially those who have been in the space for a long time. I mean, there's a lot of people in the space for 5, 10 years, and they're still like, can't seem to wrap their head around how all this manipulation and how this whole thing works. But yeah, for me, I'm hodling. I'm bullish. You guys know that I am. It's not about the seasonality. It's not about this 4-year cycle. To me, it's about liquidity. To me, about Fed policy. And the fact of the matter is we've had QT in effect for multiple years now. And it's squeezing the markets. It's been squeezing risk assets. Frankly, a miracle that Bitcoin ran to 125K in these conditions, but it did. I think once we start to shift and move fully into quantitative easing, we're going to start to see a massive run here. So, yeah, same story's old as time. Don't get shaken out. Jay knows what he's talking about.
Well, if you don't want to take our word for it, maybe you'll take Bitwise, and you don't want to take Tom Lee's word for it. How about this, Mr. Bitwise here? $12 million ETF issuer Bitwise telling CNBC bottoms in on Bitcoin. 99K bottoms in on Bitcoin.
You know who just actually flipped on Bitcoin and said they sold almost all their position and they don't believe it anymore? Peter Thiel. Flipped
Interesting.
on Bitcoin.
Well, he's all in on
He's
Ethereum.
probably one of the 9 billion sellers. The ones who's selling $1 billion to $9 billion. That was probably one of his wallets.
Probably, yes, but he's all in on Ethereum, right? He is the main benefactor or investor behind, I don't know if it's BitMine. It may be one of the others. Ether Machine, maybe it is. But he's all in on ETH, so, you know.
Fair enough. Then he hasn't left the market.
Yeah, I don't mind. You sell your Bitcoin moving to ETH, like, I can't hate that. Should have held both. Like, what do you need the money for, bro? Like, just hold. You're a billionaire times 100. Like, just hold.
Became a billionaire by outperforming, though, Crypto Amaru. You got to find the next thing.
I guess
and we've been saying that, too. We think
so.
ETH is going to outperform Bitcoin the remainder of the cycle. So far, it is up about 100% off the low from the Bitcoin pair, and we'll see if that trend continues. But, yeah, I didn't know that. I just saw the clip of the interview of him kind of fading Bitcoin, saying he still owns a small position, you know, stuttering around. That's just kind of how he talks. What is it with that? Why are so many billionaires and trillionaires pretty bad public speakers? They're kind of on the spectrum a little bit, too.
Because they're
Elon
geniuses.
Musk can't talk very well. Peter Thiel can't talk very well. And these aren't hard questions. These are like, do you own Bitcoin? And Peter Thiel's like, you got but. Like, you can't even give an answer. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I was watching Elon Musk's interview with Joe Rogan, and, I mean, he's saying insightful stuff, but it's like it takes him a while to get a thought out.
Can't get it out, yeah.
He's a genius, so, you know, you can't hate it.
He's
Shout out to
definitely got
Morgan.
better. I think some of it's also there's probably a fair bit of considering what he wants to say so that he doesn't get sued going on.
That is true. They are on big platforms. It's like if you slip up and say something, it's going to be all over the internet.
A lot of implications behind anything those guys say legally.
I don't think Elon Musk gives a fuck about that. He's like, sue me, I don't give a fuck. Good for Elon. Shout out to Elon. Shout out to Martin as well. Pumpvember, would love to see it. But February 26th, something to look for. Yeah, man, it could be that long. I know we've been waiting a long time, but that might be when we start to see the parabolic phase or part, maybe it'll already be the blow off top by then. I think we start to grind up from here, though, guys. Like, we just had another major correction. We are down 25% from the top that we set in early October. Granted, it's funny, right? Like, we hit 126K approximately 30 days ago. It feels like a lifetime. It feels like forever that we've been in this downtrend, and it feels like the shit. But I promise you, at some point, we're going to reverse. We're going to start grinding up. Straight couple 5% days together. All the euphoria starts to come back. The greed, the green candles. Everyone's feeling much better. And this moment in time will feel like a distant memory.
And we got a crypto paradise pump. Zcash now up 10%, and Zen just flipped green. Well, there you go. There's a 5% gainer right there if you took action.
There you
first
go.
time I mentioned it.
Maybe it's just FOMO in Zcash at this point, guys. Like, nothing else is moving. Just FOMO in.
Well, I like it Zen.
That's tough, by the way, right there.
Zcash is tough. But Zen is the one I was saying. When Zcash was up 5, Zen was down 6. And I said if Zcash holds green, Zen's going to flip green. And now it's gone from -6 to +1% on the day.
Yeah, I like Zen. I like Zen as the undervalued, higher upside play.
Breaking, Crypto Paradise's surf token is just been rebranded to a privacy token. We're going to now list it everywhere as a privacy token.
We're contacting CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap right now. Flipping privacy. Yeah. No proof of technology, but it's completely private. Don't worry about it. Whole chain is the privacy chain.
What's kind of cool about this little privacy run here is that it is actually hard to sort of replicate and copy. A coin can easily rebrand it like an AI coin. That's not hard. Like, add some chat GPT stuff to your website, whatever. It's an AI coin. It's a little bit hard to like engineer your coin to all of a sudden be a privacy coin or privacy chain. That's not something you can just overnight. Oh yeah, I'm a private. Like, no, that's not how it works, bro. So shout out to everyone who got into Zcash early. Zen's still a trade you may want to look at.
I think it's nice too. We talked about it yesterday. It just, like you said, it's hard to just rebrand as a privacy coin. So it just has a little utility season here. It's nice that projects that have, whether you use the privacy functions or not, or it doesn't matter. It's still, I would bring in these as a utility coin movement because the fundamentals are ingrained in ZK Snark technology, our utilization of privacy platforms that then go towards token buybacks, burns, LP ads, whatever. So at least it's a utility season right here when you're talking about privacy. So we'll see if that trend continues. And that's really what sent, 2017 cycle and even a lot of the 2020 movers was, fundamentals, hope, speculation, diamond hands. And that's something we have not seen for many years.
I agree. I'd rather have the privacy coins pumping than some random fucking turd coin and butt coin and meme coin this. Yeah.
Well, all hope is gone right now in the markets, and man, what a beautiful time. What a beautiful time to enter. I'm telling you guys. People are gonna look back on this day, this month, they go, man, I wish I bought that $100,000 Bitcoin crash. It always happens that way, guys, every single time. Martin has a good question. I want to just flag and shout out. At what point do corrections become a bear market? 90% down, wink. Doing a little wink. Well, look, I for one, and I can't speak for, my partners here. I for one believe there will be another crash at some point. Not 90% down, no way, but 60%, like a really bad like crypto winter. I think we're gonna have that. I just don't think that happens until you have the parabolic blow off top. You don't get the crypto winter without the massive greed and the over leverage and everyone's going crazy in the full blown mania. And then the Fed pulls the rug and is like, "Oh shit, inflation's getting too hot. We gotta increase the rates and start pulling money out of the economy." And that's when you get the crash. We didn't get that. We're just at the end of the Fed's quantitative tightening, where they pulled the rug out under us for the past 2 years, and now they're about to shove money back in the economy. And you're telling me that it's all over right on the eve of them starting quantitative easing again? It doesn't make any sense. So, no, I do not believe this is the 90% crash starting yesterday. I do believe we will get a big crash in the future, but not until you have the melt up.
Well, here's a fun thing to think about. How many times in all the last cycles did people call the actual top? Almost none. People that did got extremely lucky if they did call the top. So either 80% of crypto degens and crypto bros and crypto Twitter magically figured out when the cycle top is and are all right now, or they're not right, they're like every other cycle. For something tells me, because I know a lot of these degens, I know a lot of people that are posting all over crypto Twitter, and something tells me that they didn't all of a sudden just magically look in their crystal ball and all 80% of them figured it out on the same week that the top is in. Then why do people ride the bull market down all through the end of the end of 2021 and into 2022 saying, it's just a dip, it's coming back, blah, blah, blah. There wasn't this mass hysteria. This would be the first time ever that the majority of the market was correct on calling the bear market starting. Something tells me we didn't just get
the whales were wrong, and the Tom Lee and all the whales and the Wall Street money was wrong. Yeah,
so either the crypto bros all became geniuses overnight, or they're wrong. I don't know where I'm placing my money.
Richard Hart trying to send his spicy tweet here as well 19 hours ago saying best bull market ever. This is in the past, people parse his words and he says, hey, you let the Jeets out, you send a spicy tweet for final capitulation, and then you send it. Does this mean Pulse Chain's going to send, Ethereum's going to send? I don't know. Even the market's getting to Richard Hart here. I think this is more satire and he's having fun with it than him actually feeling emotions, though.
You got to embrace the suck, don't you? And you got to make light of it. You have to laugh a little bit when the market crashes. Like literally, that's how I survived FTX. It's how I survived COVID. You just kind of laugh and go, crypto's fucking nuts. I can't believe this shit just crashed 60% in a month or 30% in a day. But here we are. That's what happened. This is insane. We live in a simulation, and here's my buying opportunity. That's it.
Some people see this as bearish, but I see this as there's no way that the Ethereum top is in. Here's from Tom Crown, shared by BTGC, so shout out to you. May 2021, 3.3K. 2022, 3.3K. 2024, 3.3K. 2025, 3.3K. And this goes back to what I've been seeing, and I think, Nate, you actually tagged me because other people are starting to talk about it too. If you believe that Ethereum had a 5-year consolidation with new all-time high, being the number 2 crypto asset in the entire marketplace, getting DATs on board, getting institutional regulation, about to be paying dividends on their spot ETFs, all for it not to break 5,000 and go to new all-time highs. Is it possible? Sure. But does that seem crazy? Yes. That is why I cannot say I think the top is in. I think that would be like the worst play by institutional players ever. The biggest, brightest, most, wallet-filled people in the entire space betting on ETH, the second largest crypto asset, and it can't even break a new all-time high. That would be wild.
Yeah, that was a Bit Shaman tweet I tagged you in. Shout out Bit Shaman. We haven't chatted with him in a while. Got him on. We should hit him up. He's a great dude. Good trader, and one of the few. I shouldn't say few. He's a reliable, trustworthy dude, and there's not too many KOLs out there that are like that. So shout out Bit Shaman.
Yeah, I mean, the notion that we hit a top on Ethereum before it actually broke its all-time high in a meaningful way just belies all logic to me. We're going to look back, guys, because it happens every time. We're going to look back. Again, I don't know if it's 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, but we are going to look back on today. Just we look back on every other crash that happened, every other 20% correction, and go, damn, the prices are much higher now. I wish I had bought that dip.
Yeah. I mean, look, we could be wrong. It's just when you look at this data, it is absolutely something I've been saying for a while. 5 years with no new high for ETH, and it's the second largest crypto asset in the entire market. That is crazy to see. That's crazy to think about. And yes, you should probably be buying the ETH dip. And then also, nice name here. If you're on Pulse Chain, you should probably be buying the PTGC dip as well if you believe that Pulse Chain needs to do something and will do something. There was $100 million worth of ETH moved, the final money from one of the sacrificed wallets through Tornado Cash yesterday. I don't think he's going to be selling, or whoever that is, it might be Richard, may not be, who knows, is going to be selling ETH less than $5,000 and pumping the Pulse Chain chain. So everybody's watching and staring ETH. This isn't new content for you. We've literally been saying this for months. And even when ETH was up there at $4,500 to $4,800, we said don't get excited until ETH gets above 5,000 and closes above 5,000, and we just haven't done that yet.
I won't be excited until 10,000. I will not be excited till 10,000.
I'm excited now
That's my
because
expectation.
I'm excited now because I'm getting a chance to buy some cheap ETH.
There you go. That's how you should be looking at this, guys. That's exactly how you should be looking at this. Yeah, I'm not worried. I think, look, to make it in this space, you need two things. You need patience. Talk about that a lot. You also need conviction. You really have to believe in this asset. The second you stop believing in Bitcoin, the second you stop believing in ETH, Solana, whatever your holdings are, that's the second you will sell at the first sign of weakness. And this space is littered. Millions upon millions of people who cheated out way too early. I know. Probably like 8 of them. All my friends, we started crypto at the same time back in 2017. One by one, they cheated out. One by one, they said, oh, it's Fugazi, it's a scam. I don't believe in this anymore. I'm selling. Guess what? They're all still working their 9-to-5 jobs, and here I am talking to you guys on a podcast, pretty much semi-retired. So, believe in something, hodl on, have some goddamn conviction, and that's how you make it through these shitty times.
We shall see how it all plays out. Do you think we see Moonvember or Novembear? What are your guys' thoughts? I did send this tweet out talking about the history of November, and this was when Bitcoin was down 7.68% for the month, near the exact low. We did just look earlier, and it is now negative 6.05%. Do you think November flips green and stays with history, or do you think it's going to take longer for these markets to turn around?
Green.
That's because right now it's a coin flip. If you look at history, we've only had red Octobers 3 total times. One time here was minus 12% that turned to a plus 12%, and then one time here was minus 3%. That was actually a negative 36% in November. That was at the end of the bull market of 2017. Do you think we have a red or green for November, Nate? You are the final verdict here.
Man, I'll tell
That
you
would
what,
put
I'm
us.
kinda
I mean,
playing-
what would that mean? What would that mean? That Bitcoin needs to be like what, like 110,000 or 111,000, something like that? What was the monthly open on Bitcoin?
The monthly open was like 107 maybe.
Let's see if we can
Green.
find it
It's
real
going to be
quick.
green. If you look at the times it was red, those were all in the midst of crypto winters, right? You look at 2022. That was the year after the massive run up, and actually in November, that was the FTX implosion. I remember it vividly.
There you go, Nate. Bitcoin would have to get above $111,221.99 to flip green.
I think that gives us a pretty big range from 99 or 99K to you could go 116, 118 and range in that area, and then close at 110. I don't think that who's going to say it's a bear market now, and that would still be technically a red November.
Right.
I don't know. It's tough to say. I tell you what I'm going to do though. I'm going to be DCAing all through this month so that I don't. So if we do get a V-shaped recovery, I don't miss these lows on some top like ETH and Bitcoin. But I am going to hold some reserves in case we do go a little bit lower here, and we do get the scenario like who was it? Was it Max or someone posted there where it's mid Q1 before we really see things start to ignite again. So I think I'm gonna hedge and play both sides here. But if I had to gun to my head, I gotta go red.
There we go. It looks.
Man.
This is a big
Foolish
candle, but the low is 98,900. The high is 111,221. It's only been 5 days, and you got this big of a candle. There was a green candle to start the month for November after it rallied after the October close, and then we did just see the liquidation event that happened yesterday. Wild times. History says it's a coin flip. Seasonality says, and medians and average returns says it should be green. And for all the 4-year cyclists, I mean, that's the other thing too. A lot of people are like, I'm on the 4-year cycle, but Bitcoin topped in September. That doesn't even make sense. That doesn't even mathematically make sense either. So who knows what the fuck's going on? I'm staying long.
There you go. Believe in something, guys. Have some goddamn conviction. Have some goddamn conviction like Martin does. You got to stay positive as well. Absolutely, Martin. I agree. November's going to be gold, like the sand on the beach at Crypto Paradise. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Touch some grass. Touch some sand if you guys can't handle the volatility. I, for one, will be down in Tulum at the end of the month, so very much looking forward to that. But, yeah, to me, why is it going to be great? Well, outside of the seasonality, You have stock markets all-time high, gold at all-time highs, Fed's looking to cut rates. You have QE starting, shadow QE, $100 billion have been injected into the banking system over the past, say, week. When does that become official QE and not just shadow QE? That's a question in my mind. But to me, too many positive tailwinds. The only reason why prices are down is because of market manipulation and the fact that everyone is doing leverage trading, and Binance and all these market makers see an opportunity to liquidate your ass, and so that's what they're fucking doing. That is the only reason why shit is crashing. And some whales selling, and some, let's just be honest, some early OGs that stumbled. Oh, well, I found a wallet with $1 billion in Bitcoin. Cool. Held on to it for 12 years, and now I'm selling. So there's that too. But outside of that, there is no like structural, fundamental reason for this crash. There was no FTX implosion. There was no COVID. This is just leverage washout, guys. It's going to be like every other one of those 20 to 25% corrections that we've seen now 7 times in this bull run over the past year we've had a bull run. Standard stuff, y'all. We always get a bounce. I think today is the start of the bounce. Let's see if I'm right. I think I'm right. Who's with us? Who's still bullish? I hope you guys are, man, because look, if you start to question this asset, if you start to say, oh, it's all over, Bitcoin's going to zero, this whole thing sucks, this whole thing's fugazi, that's when you sell, that's when you leave the market, and then before you know it, you look back, oh shit, guys, I fumbled my bag of Bitcoin. I could have $1 million worth, but I sold out on November 5th, 2025 because I lost faith in the asset, and now I'm still working like a schmo. Don't be that guy.
Thing is, the last time we were really in the doldrums and I felt the same way about Ethereum was, let's zoom out here, was back at the lows when everybody was just begging for, can we just get a $2,000 ETH? Oh my gosh, even a $4,000 cycle top, I'll take it and I'll sell it all and walk away. Please, God, help me. And that's when we were telling you a inverse head and shoulders was forming, went live on air going all in at $1,700 off the low, and we went from $1,700 in May to $4,800 in August. So, that's the last time we've had this same kind of feeling in the market, for my estimation, where everybody literally is giving up on the assets. The top is in. Oh my gosh, ETH complete and utter failure. And that was the move right before, over a double up on ETH. So I don't know.
And look at that crash. Look at that. Like that was the April, I guess, probably crash, tariff crash all the way. That was like a 4-month, basically just cascading down for months and months and months. Thank God I held. Thank God I held on. And shout out to everyone who bought the bottom, and believed. But we've gone how many months of consolidation here now since
from August?
Okay, so it's been about 4 or 5 months, or 4 months. Yeah, but look, this is nothing, guys. Why are you whining? What are you complaining about? We just had $1,600 ETH, $1,400 ETH. I don't know what that price was back at that low there. I can't see, but we're still up 2-3x from there. So what are you guys complaining about?
Because alts didn't do well, which they really didn't. So it doesn't feel great. We understand that. But you got to zoom out, take the wins where they are, and, have conviction in the data that you're seeing. So, you can sell out. If the data that you're seeing, you think the top is in, then obviously you want to sell here before we go on a multi-year bear market. But that's just not the data that we're seeing. We're still looking for higher. We're still having conviction on some altcoins, trying to get in early plays. Holding assets like PTGC and Surf that have deflationary nature, so the ups and downs don't matter, the volume does, and over time it's buying supply off the open market, and then when Pulse Chain does well, they're going to do well, and the same applies to Ethereum and so many other assets. So yes, it's not fun. We get more views, we get more likes, follows, more marketing deals, more Surf buyers when candles are green. But it's just part of the nature in the market that you're going to have red candles, and you just got to try to position yourself, whether it's taking some trades like selling ETH, Bitcoin, and Solana higher to try to buy them back cheaper. Same thing with Pengu, and trying to find new opportunities in the market as well. And if that's not your time horizon either, then you just need to be buying, accumulating, and holding long term. So everybody has a different market strategy, and obviously it feels better, and you want to tune in and learn when there's green candles. It's better for us too. We get more marketing deals. We make more gains in our portfolio. Everything's more exciting. We get more followers. But we can't force green candles on the chart. All we can do is come on here, show the data, show the news, and ultimately you hit that buy button or you hit that sell button.
That is all very true. But you know what? There's a couple things that I don't get in a bull run that I'm getting now that I'm very thankful for. For one, sleep. Who remembers 2021? Barely slept. You're like full-blown mania. Like so many deals, so many opportunities. You're like wake up in the middle of the night, check your portfolio. Like oh my god, crazy. The other thing that I get here in the bearish period, I get in shape. I got time now. I got time to go to the gym. Wow, what a wonderful thing. And third thing, I can take care of my kids. They are pains in the asses. I will admit it. But happy to see them grow up. And if it was a crazy bull run, we'd have to hire a nanny, which, I would barely see my kids. So have some silver linings. Stay positive. Think about the future. Be like Mick Choppa. Be like Miko Choppa here. Still bullish on seeing us on the beach next year. Absolutely. We still have plans to do the Crypto Paradise Retreat. I was telling Nick, yeah, we'll do it in November because surely, the market will be good enough by then and people will have made money. So we'll definitely do it in November. This is after I said we would do it in August, or what we wanted to do it earlier in the year. So November's canceled.
2027.
February next year. I promise you, we're gonna do it. We are gonna do it, guys. But look, for everyone who sold out, how confident are you? I want to hear from you guys. How confident are you that we're actually going to be lower this time next year, and you'll have an opportunity to buy in, and all your wildest dreams will come true, and you've timed the market perfectly? How confident are you in that versus actually could be 2x, 3x, 5x higher than it is today, and you've got completely left behind? And do you want to risk that? That's what I always think to myself, because I got friends like, dude, you should sell now and just buy back in when it's lower. It's like, do you know that it's going to be lower? How do you know? What if I get left behind and then I have no more Bitcoin left? And I feel like a fucktard, like a lot of my friends feel like. It's like, I'm not willing to take that risk, so I'm just holding.
Yeah, the longer this delays, I think there needs to be a euphoria phase in crypto. So the longer this delays, the more likelihood that you're higher to some point next year than you are right now. And people are like, well, why do you need a euphoria? To me, this has gone mainstream. This is the first time the institutions are getting positions, getting regulations passed, and all this. And we just had euphoria for a $30 trillion physical gold asset where people are lining up around the corners. Bitcoin and crypto is at $3 trillion market cap, and you can do it digitally from home. I just don't understand how you can say, yes, there can be euphoria on a $30 trillion hunk of metal that gets mined every day, but there can't be euphoria on the new digital wave of commerce and finance that is being institutionally adopted and regulatory talked about on a federal level in the United States, which is the financial global capital of the world. I just don't get it.
Well, you can have euphoria, you can have mania, but not until the Fed steps in and basically engineers that with quantitative easing. Remember, crypto is still the riskiest of the risk assets. Let's just call it for what it is, right? Let's not pretend that it's not that. I know we all want to say it's digital gold, and obviously it has properties of gold, better than gold, frankly. But it's perceived as, for better or worse, as riskier than gold. Certainly riskier than the S&P 500, riskier than Nvidia, Microsoft, Facebook, etc. So you have to wait for the stars to align, and by that I mean the liquidity to start flooding into the market. And we're at a phase where the Fed has just pulled the rug out from under us for 2 years with high rates for basically going on for 2 years, and now finally starting to pivot. But we're on a delay. We're on a lag. There's always a lag and delay between when they cut the rates and when they start the quantitative easing and when the risk assets start to actually pump. So you've been holding on for this long. If you've been this patient, this locked in, what, are you going to sell out now because Binance engineered another manipulated dump to wash out the leverage traders? Seriously, guys? Shaking my head.
Well, speaking of sleep, we're hour and 15. This might be our longest one yet. Hour and 15 minutes in.
I'm just hyped up, man. I'm just jacked up. Every time the market crashes, I just get so incredulous at you Jeets that are selling out at the first sign of weakness. And also, by the way, and I'll let you go. I know Nate needs to go to bed. We'll end it after my next tirade. All you guys I see on X, and I don't know how true these posts are, but I'm seeing like over and over, like, I just got liquidated for $4 million. I just lost $9 million. Like, what? Are you out there doing leverage trading with that kind of size? And you're doing it with like more than 2x leverage? Like, are you out of your goddamn minds? Yeah, it's like saying, I went to the casino and lost it all. I can't believe it. So I hope most of these people are like just being disingenuous and click farming. But are you guys seeing these posts like I got liquidated for 9 million, 4 million, 5 million? It's bananas. What would your
Yeah.
wife think?
And the other thing is too, I don't know how many of these people, like how much is real and how much is just clickbait and people trying to get famous like James Wynn did. It's a weird world we live in where people literally brag about their losses, brag about stupid stuff they did, brag about losing, food stamps or being on food stamps. It's like anything for clicks. It doesn't matter if you're, what happened to fake it to make it till you make it. I'd rather that, you guys flexing and acting like you made it when you haven't, than you bragging about being a loser. And that's the way the society is unfortunately heading.
How about providing real value to people, solid recommendations, reminding them to hold and not cheat out, because that's how you actually do make it in the financial markets. Let's just be honest about it. If you're in the markets for multiple years, multiple decades, compound interest is your friend, you eventually get rich. Why do you think so many teachers are millionaires, guys? It's not because they went to the crypto markets and did leverage trading. It's because they just invested in their 401k every month and did that for 40 years, and then over time it grew to $1 million. This isn't rocket science, guys. Just be in the markets long term, hodl on, get through the volatility, and you'll be laughing on your way to the bank when you're 65.
Time in the markets, not timing the markets.
There you go. So don't be clickbaiting, leverage trading, getting liquidated for $4 million. My God, if I told my wife, "Hey, hun, lost $4 million today," she divorced me the next day. Are you fucking? Unless I had like 50 mil. I don't know the details of these people's financial.
That'd still be. You still probably
If
be the
I
dog
made
now.
50 doing leverage and I'm so good at it and I just lost 4, okay, fine. But I think a lot of these people just like got lucky for a while, were good for a while, and then just went way too much size, too much leverage. Binance fucked them over, and then they lost everything. Like that happens, guys. This is absolutely the thing that happens. So don't do that. Don't be dumb. Hold spot. Think long term. And if you do that, we'll see you on the beach.